Hey, and welcome to episode 3 of my solo Direwolf 1.6.4 series. In the last two episodes, you saw me do some Buildcraft stuff and some thermal expansion stuff. And I have been working on my Buildcraft. I've been plugging away at the various researches, and I've, gotten quite a few of them. I'm not completely done. I'm missing a lot of the tools, but what I really want to work on is the infusion table, which I'm showing you here. But to make the infusion table, it's a multi-block structure, as you can see, and to build this, I'm going to need a little bit of room. So I'm going to need to actually make a new room so that I can build the infusion table. Now, I think I'm going to build this new room outside of this place here, outside the back. But to do that, I'm actually going to need to clear out a bunch of the terrain. Now, I could do this manually by hand, but why play FTB if you're going to do everything by hand, right? And there's a machine that can actually help clear this area out for me, and it's called the Filler, and it's from a mod called Buildcraft. So what I'm going to show you next is how to clear out an area using the Filler. So let's get on with it. As you can see for the recipe from the Filler, I'm going to need to make a landmark. And a landmark is basically a redstone torch with a lapis on top. And I'm going to actually need a few of these landmarks to actually use the Filler, so I'm going to make a couple of them here so that I have them for when I need them. And once I make the landmarks, here, why I just throw the lapis on top, and now I have landmarks, and I'm going to use these. So what else I need for the Filler is gears. Now to make gears, basically you need to start with a basic wooden gear, which is just 4 sticks arranged like so. And then I need 2 of them because I'm going to make a filler. And to make stone gears, you then put stone around the wooden gear, and then you get your stone gears. Then you can surround the stone gears with iron to make iron gears. Yeah, you can see where this is going, right? And then finally, to make the gold gear, you take the iron gear and surround it with gold. And there you get your gold gears. So it's not like super cheap, but not super expensive once you've done a little bit of mining. And so now I have everything that I need to make the filler, so I can make it. And ink sacks. And wow, I'm terrible at this. Okay, there we go. Yay! Now I have a filler. Now, to actually use the filler, I'm going to have to power it. And last time in thermal expansion, what I did is I built the leadstone energy cube. Now, if I pop the cube with my wrench, it actually holds all the power that it has stored inside of it. However, the leadstone energy cube doesn't hold that much power, so I actually want to upgrade it to the next version of it. And to do that, what I need to do is basically surround the leadstone energy cube with Invar ingots. And now I have a hardened energy cell, and as you can see, it still actually holds the charge that was in it already. Now what I want to do is I want to go put down this energy cell and basically get it all nice and charged up so that I have enough power to do what I want to do with it. While this is charging up, I'm going to go outside and set up the filler so that it's basically ready to go, and I can just come and grab the energy cube and let it go. Okay, so the way the filler works is it's going to use these landmarks to guide the area where it's going to fill in or remove terrain from. And basically, to fill in or remove terrain in an area, you need 3 landmarks. Once I place these landmarks, they have to be set at the same height and on the same plane, and then when you right-click it, it will turn on this little red laser showing you the line. Now if I go out here and I place this last landmark at the same height and along the same plane and then click it, it will create a rectangle or square if you've put it exactly. Now I think the maximum area that you can actually fill in with a filler or with a quarry or something like that is a 64 by 64 area. So as you can see, I've set it up, and now when I plop down the filler, the landmarks disappear and this construction tape sort of fills in the place. And this is marking the area that's going to be filled. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually picking up the landmarks that I placed, because once you plop down the filler, the landmarks basically get displaced and that construction tape takes its place. So you can pick up to reuse the landmarks. And because I don't have a ton of lapis at this point, I really don't want to give up my landmarks. Okay, now to connect your hardened energy cell to your filler, you will need to use an energy conduit. In earlier versions, thermal expansion used to produce Buildcraft power, or Minecraft joules, and you could just basically plop a energy cube right next to a filler and it would work. However, now that thermal expansion produces redstone flux, you need to basically use an energy conduit to transfer the power from the energy cube to your filler. Now I'm just checking to make sure everything's kosher before I set everything in motion, and everything looks good. So now what you need to do is basically go back to your filler and put in the recipe. So now by placing the 3 stone bricks in the bottom slot and filling the top 2 slots with glass, what I'm going to do is basically create a layer where on the bottom layer where the guide is, it's going to fill in with whatever fill material you put in the bottom section. And the clear glass basically tells it to clear everything above that layer. And usually what happens is it starts at the highest level up and works its way down until it gets finally to that bottom layer. And what it will do is clear all the way down to the bottom layer and fill in anything that is lower than that bottom layer with whatever fill material you put in there. And in this case I've put in cobblestone because that's what I have a lot of. And as you can see, the filler is going to work and it's clearing the terrain. And what it's going to do is it's going to clear out this entire area, and then it'll go down another level until it gets to the bottom layer. Now, what it doesn't do is it doesn't collect any of this material. So if you want any of this material, make sure that you clear it out first before using the filler, or there's another machine that you could use if you wanted to collect all of this material if you just want to dig a hole straight down, and that's the quarry. And I'll probably show you that at a later date. So as you can see, the filler is still working here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this work, and we'll come back when it's done and I'll show you what it looks like after it's completely filled in the entire area. So we'll be back in a minute. As you can see, the filler cleared out the entire area and filled in any holes. Much easier than manually clearing out the area yourself. And I could have done a much bigger area, and I'm sure I will do some more clearing out of this area. As you can see, I totally screwed up and I'm a layer down. So I could fix that if I wanted to right now, but I'm not going to worry about it, because what I want to do next is I actually want to use the filler to create a building. And that's something that you can do by just changing the recipe. And I'm going to show you that next. What I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to plan out the dimensions of my building, use the landmarks to set it up, and then basically let it go. I'm also going to have to charge up my power cube as well. But let's just plan out my building here. I think I'm just going to make it as wide as the building that I already have, and maybe double the distance. So I'll come back when I've got it all planned out and I'll show you. To set the dimensions for constructing a building is much the same as clearing out an area. Basically, you need 3 landmarks to mark an area. As you can see, I got the lasers going here. I'll go out to this final block here and I'll get my area. Let's see. Oh. Click, click. There we go. Now I've got my area. There you go. That's the size of the building that I want. Now, to get the height in place, you basically need to, decide on what height. So build a little rock or dirt or whatever tower to the height that you want. And then you need to have a landmark to mark the height. But it has to be directly above another landmark. And then you ponder for a few minutes why it's not working. Okay, I figured it out. I just had to right-click on the landmark twice, and now I have my building shape in place. And then the next part is basically the exact same as before. You place down your filler beside one of the landmarks, and all your landmarks will pop off, and the construction tape will take its place, showing you the shape of your new building. And again, I'm going to run around and pick up the landmarks, and I'll be back in a minute. And now I just need to hook it up with power and put the pattern in place. To create a hollow structure, you need to fill in the crafting pattern of the filler with bricks, leaving the center section empty. This will create a cubic type building. And then all you need to do once you have power and the pattern in place is to put in your filling resources. And as soon as you start putting in filling resources, you'll watch the cobblestone be placed. And so first it's going to fill the floor, and then it will start building one of the walls, and then it will finally build the roof. And after a short amount of time, we will have a nice cubic building. So I'll be back in a moment. So, after just a few moments, the filler completed the building, and now I have a giant structure that will be ready to build an infusion table in, and maybe get started on some Ars Magica stuff. I haven't done anything with Ars Magica yet, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to trying out that mod. It looks kind of neat. The filler has a couple other uses which I haven't shown you yet, but, maybe I'll get to those at some other point in the future. Now all I need to do is, light this place up so mobs stop spawning in it. You might have seen the arrows sticking out of one of the walls. And at some point I'll probably throw a glass roof on it so that we can get some sunlight in here, and, well, it's ready to go. So, until next time. Oh wait, before I go, I thought I'd show you a little trick. If you don't know this little trick from Minecraft, if you press F7, it'll actually show you where mobs are going to spawn or have the option of spawning. And so when I place torches over these red lines, this basically will now prevent mobs from spawning here. So it's actually a handy little tool so that you know where to put your light sources to stop mobs from spawning. So again, until next time, Delgar out.